Hey guys, it's K3vl0ck here, maker of Power Ranger Pops and Props here on Blerdkast. Here to talk about some Power Ranger things and all things related to Power Ranger as far as like weapons or helmets or anything else, etc. So,
It's the hottest. We geeking out loud. Yeah, I'm a geek. We geeking out loud. I'm geeking out loud while you sneak around. See, I'm the one they speaking about. This key blast to throw you in the air and spit.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blerdkast, and today we are in the middle of my Power Rangers week on the channel, and I'm just happy. I'm so happy to have one of my favorite content creators, one of my favorite Power Ranger nerds of all time on the show. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back, K3vl0ck.
woo! Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. I'm ready to hear and learn about Power Rangers and talk about Power Rangers. So, because there's things I don't know that you know, and there's things I might know that you don't know.
True, I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to teach you about Power Rangers or even RangerStop and Pop for that matter, but let's just go. Like, dude, you're one of my favorite content creators on TikTok. Definitely my favorite 3D printer, and I didn't even think I would have one of those until I met you. And just like favorite nerds in general on the internet, and I'm just happy that we've been able to meet each other and been able to kind of hang out at RangerStop and Pop and just get to know each other and just kind of bond over one of my favorite franchises, if not my hands down favorite franchise of all time, being Power Rangers. And I just want to thank you so much because like you have given me endless hours of entertainment and joy with your content, which we're going to definitely get into. But why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience? You were recently on the channel on the RSP live that we did at the beginning of May, and now here we are in June, the week of RangerStop and Pop. You might make a cameo appearance, a bunch of other people might show up, but why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself to my audience?
Yeah, so I'm K3vl0ck. I was formerly on, well, I guess it's already passed now, but the RangerStop and Pop Live. I am a maker of Power Ranger props. I do a lot of helmets, and I also do weapons as well, and I do custom things. I am a big Power Ranger nerd, as you guys can see, and a former Air Force veteran. So with my time, I do my work from home job, and I also make props. So that's what I do day to day.
That's what's up. So much we're going to get into. Like I really want to know, how did you just happen to get into 3D printing? I'm sure there's a story behind that, and then you combine that with your favorite. I bet it is, buddy. I bet it is, because I've seen like how many printers and things you have, and I was like, I'm into photography. I'm just like, that's so much cheaper.
No, I don't think it's any cheaper, to be honest. I mean, they're both pretty expensive, like hobbies and habits, because this is a habit for me. I'm in the middle of the night just looking at my printer like, is it working?
That is amazing. That is so amazing. But again, so first of all, like you said, you were ex-Navy, right?
No, Air Force.
Air Force.
So I'm an Air Force veteran.
Ex-Air Force. So you're like cream of the crop of the service right there.
I worked intel in the middle of the country.
That's dope. So thank you so much for your service and keeping our country safe. I'm going to do my best to not get political and ask that. I know the military, they just want to protect and serve, and I just want to respect that. But just thank you for your service. But how did you get into 3D printing?
Oh, so I got into 3D printing because I love Power Rangers, and that's actually how I got. Yeah, it's surprising, right? So I got into it because I love Power Rangers, and this is how it went. So I'm really a big Zach fan, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. As you can see, the Black Ranger Mastodon mashup that I got, that's my baby right now.
Right.
I wanted a power axe. No one made a power axe, like not any toy stores or anything at that time. And this was like 2018 or so. So I looked on Etsy, and there was people who made power axes and sold it on Etsy, but they were all $300. So me being me and going, I'm pretty cheap, I could probably do this. How much is a 3D printer? So I found one for $200, and I kind of did an estimate, and I was like, it would cost me exactly that to make this, and then I could make more. Long story short, it cost me $600 to make my first power axe.
Isn't that how it always goes, though?
Hey, yep. $600 to make my first Power Axe.
Do you
And
still have the first one you made?
I still have the first one I made. It's actually it's upstairs right now. I can go and
Okay.
grab it in a little bit, and I'll compare it to the one I just made, and you can see the drastic difference.
You said you got into this because of Power Rangers. Since you've been a 3D printer, I don't know what you call yourself within the 3D printer community, but since you've gotten into it and you started creating content around 3D printing, especially Power Ranger props, especially Kingdom Hearts props, like I love your Keyblades, dude. Right, and I love your amalgamation fusions of like some of my favorite genres and IPs, Power Rangers and Kingdom Hearts. You got a White Ranger Keyblade Saba. Come
And then I
on.
made this one, Power Rangers in One Piece.
That is dope. I don't like One Piece. Everybody know on my channel I'm not into One Piece, but that is sick.
Hey, I like my crossovers, and just like the Mandalorian Black Ranger. So I mean,
That's what's up. That's so amazing. I do want to bring up something you mentioned in the live, even though this is airing in June. The live was last night for us, but they don't need to know that. The internet can keep a secret.
yeah, that's why I was trying to.
I know,
Say that.
I know. But like, hey, for the people who are going to get the behind the scenes Easter egg stuff, we did the live last night, and the live was interesting. But you mentioned in the live that you got into Power Rangers because of Zach, because you saw a black man be the Black Ranger, and because of a lot of the recent controversy. This is recent for us. It's a month from now. Yep. But Walter Jones came out and made a couple of comments about his stint of being the Black Ranger on Power Rangers, in contrast to what one of the writers said, that it might have been a mistake casting a black man to be the Black Ranger and an Asian woman to be the Yellow Ranger, and how that might have perceived. So I want to just kind of not only get your take on that, but just really dive into, like, why are you still to this day, 30 plus years later, a fan of Power Rangers?
Still to this day, 30 plus years later, why am I still a fan of Power Rangers? I really don't know. I guess it's just a love, because when I was growing up, every Halloween costume was either a ninja or a Power Ranger. Those were my costumes, like every single one, until I couldn't go trick-or-treating. So like, I mean, it didn't really go away, but like I went into the military, and 2 years into the military I bought my first cosplay. So it just, the love stayed there. It just only went away at certain times and just increased. So right now the love for Power Rangers is all there. The love of the game right there. I'm in it with Power Rangers. Whatever they come out with, I'm gonna consume it, and I don't care what people say about it, but I'm gonna love it.
Right. Same here, actually, now that you bring that up. But again, what are your thoughts about what Walter E. Jones said about his stint on being the Black Ranger, where he said, in contrast to what the writer said, that he's honored and proud to be the first Black Ranger.
Black Ranger. And I don't have a problem with that at all. Some people see it stereotypical to this day, but you got to remember the times back then. People didn't think exactly like that. Yeah, right. That is stereotypical, and someone might have subconsciously done it, but people didn't think like that. And not only on top of that, it meant something different to us. So like, us seeing a Black Ranger was like, already we see a black superhero, and then you got black on top of that, so you got black empowerment times 2. And right. I was loving that. Like, that was it for me. So like, if they would have changed it, I would have still loved it, but I don't think I would have liked it as much. Really? And honestly, I don't, because if you think about it, no other really blue really didn't get that good of a solo arc, I would say, throughout the season. So the Black Ranger got the Dawn, the Green Ranger shield. He could have been red, and that I would have probably understood, but I don't think they would have made him red at that point in time.
That's very interesting. That is a very interesting take on that. I never kind of thought of it like that. For me, I'll have to say, even at 6, I kind of understood, like, hey, that's weird and on the nose. But again, like you said, at that time, it was the early 90s. I've mentioned this in one of the RSP lives before, that back in that time, representation was literally the color of the shirt you wore. So like
Yeah,
if you wore
that's what I was going to get into next.
right. So like, you know, if you look at like Power Rangers, you look at any of the Saban properties, look at Captain Planet, any of the cartoons and things that came out like that, the diversity was really just kind of skin deep. And even with more specifically Power Rangers, they have their issues with diversity. Like it boggles me that it took them 30 years to finally put more than 2 black people on the same Power Ranger team. It boggles me that they had more than took them 30 years to do finally a female-led Ranger for a whole season, even though she only got 10 episodes, and only 7 of those were her being a Red Ranger. It boggles me that we took 30 years or 29 years to get an LGBTQ character officially, not just an actor. Power Rangers has made strides in diversity. I will give it that. But it's always been the safe 90s route.
The safe bet.
Right. And like I feel some kind of way about that because they could have done more. They could have done more to push the envelope. We're going to get into a lot of that later, but what are some of your thoughts? Because especially as like we're both black, black nerds. We call ourselves blerds. But as a blerd, like as with the series as a whole, like how we've been treated on screen, rather in the TV show or within the movies that's come out. What are your thoughts on African American Black Rangers, or regardless of whatever color they are, but Black people being represented in Power Rangers as a whole?
So I absolutely love that fact because it makes me feel included and not like separated from everyone else. Because you'll see other superhero shows where everyone doesn't look like us. They're not black, and if we cosplay, you'll get people that are complaining or other things like that. So I know it's kind of like a trope, but like if we already have the black character, they can't complain about us doing the black character. It's just annoying. But as far as a whole, I loved the fact that we had other Black Rangers and not other Black Rangers, other sorry, other Rangers that are black
Right.
in seasons. We did have another Black Ranger, but other Rangers that are black in seasons. I love that aspect. Just besides the fact there was only like one per team all the way up until the end, which that part annoyed me. I love that fact. We had several Red Rangers. I don't like that Red went down to blue. That's a different story. TJ.
Well, okay, we can talk about that later. No,
several Red Rangers. We had some solid. We had a Black Ranger. We had. I'm trying to remember all the colors. Gold.
That happened in season 28, 29 with Dino Fury.
Yep, Gold
1 and 2. Which again took them so long to finally give a black character the Sixth Ranger title.
Yep.
Which is bonkers to me. Like that's crazy. And then Zato being the leader, which was dope, and then Ion coming in and being the Sixth Ranger, which was even doper. Like, oh my god, like why did it take them so long? Like like you, I appreciated that we was always for like 26 of the seasons included in every season. There's some seasons where there are no black characters, Ninja Storm, Mystic Force, I think there's another one, but that's cool. I'm not mad at that. Jungle Fury, that was another one. I'm not mad at that, but like the rule of one always kind of upset me a little bit.
Yeah.
Rule of one, like you can only have one Black Ranger. That's enough. That's enough diversity
that's enough
there.
For you. A little bit of pepper.
Right, a little bit of pepper, like not enough seasoning. Like you can only have one because like 2 would be too many. That always made me mad. But since you are such a fan of Power Rangers, obviously you got into the convention scene with RangerStop and Pop. Tell me about your first time going to RangerStop and Pop, and what does the convention mean to you? Like, what do you get out of it?
So the first time going to RangerStop and Pop was actually the Atlanta one and not the Orlando, even though I went past the Orlando every time. Me and my wife, like, we happen to plan vacations at the same time it happens. So I pass it all the time. And I thought they were the same thing at first. Right. So like, I was like, oh, Orlando and Atlanta. And I figured out they were different. Joined TikTok, found the Power Ranger community, and then people kept asking me to go. So I just fully committed one time, and I was like, I'm just gonna go and see what it's about. And what it meant for me is like meeting people that I talk to every day and seeing them in person and learning how cool it is to like have this level of community and friendship. So like RangerStop there is just it's like a I wouldn't say it a family, but really close. It's like a really close community, and you only get so much time to spend with these friends, so you guys want to make the best of it. So
Right. I agree. I've only gone to the Atlanta con, and just that con alone, because of what Power Rangers.
that was my first one.
Right. Because of what the series means to me so much. Like, it's like I grew up hoping and wishing that one day Power Rangers will come to Atlanta. And then they came out with Power Morphicon, I think in 2006 or 2007. And I was like, oh, so close on the other side of the country, but one day I'll go there. And then
So close.
2019, Karen Ashley, and they started announcing RangerStop and Pop Atlanta. And I was like, oh my God, I can't wait. And I've gone every year. It's been so exciting. I was so nervous my first year. Like, Karen came up to me and was like, hey, you want a free picture? And I was like, yes. So I didn't get a free picture that year, but ever since then, I was like, okay, I'm getting into this YouTube stuff. I'm doing press. I'm covering conventions as like a nerd journalist, and in some type of way doing interviews. RangerStop and Pop will forever be on my list. And when they announced that this will be the last con, 2025 will be the last con, I was 100% heartbroken. On top of all the other news that was happening with the end of the franchise as a whole, the Hasbro auction, it was just bad timing for Power Rangers last year in 2024. Specifically, RangerStop and Pop Atlanta, because you have come here so much. You've vendored at the con. You've worked directly with Karen Ashley and Nakia Baris and Mikey. You sold your props there. So I just want to know, what has your unique experience with RSP Atlanta has been?
I would say my unique experience, not only as a vendor, but as a guest goer, I would say I had a pretty fantastic time. I got to meet and hang out with people I've never got to hang out with. Then I got to also see Power Ranger actors that had just come by my booth and talk to me, because all of them, and I love the RangerStop Pop like whole con as itself, because the vendors, not only the vendors but the actors themselves, will make rounds around the vendor table, helping to promote and bring other people to the table. So I've seen every single like guest that they bring on come to my table and talk to me about my stuff or ask me questions. So I didn't have to stand in line most of the time, because they just came to me and I wasn't even asking for that. And I love that. I absolutely love that. And then when I did get to walk around, I got to see all the people's amazing cosplays. I get to see everyone else's booths and what they're selling or what they have. And then I support them. I buy some of their stuff. There's a guy who sells pins. I think I have like 50 of them on my wall now. I just love that aspect, because as a vendor, I get to double down, because even if you go as a guest, you're just a guest. But if you go as a vendor, you get to be both. Yeah, right. Your time might be split, but you get to be both.
Right. That's so cool. And oh my God, like between you,
they came with tickets. So
between you, Chris Dunn, and Steve Newport, like y'all have like the most unique stories from RSP. And I'm like, I'm just pressing. I don't like get that type of experience. Because I'm always like, hey, here's a camera in your face. And they hate that. They all hate that. But when I've seen you at RSP and like you're working your tables, or like you just show up in cosplay, which we're going to talk about in a second, everybody loves you. Like, you're so magnetic. The cast members, the attendees, the VIPs, everybody loves you. What is it like being in that type of spotlight when you're like in your element? This is your thing. You're doing your 3D prints, you're cosplaying. You are the guy at RSP.
So I never want to be the focus. I know I'm cool and all, and everyone thinks I'm great. I just want to be there. I just want to be part of the experience. So I know everyone's like, hey, you're doing this and doing that. And I'm like, I just want to be part of the community. I think you guys are cool. You guys think I'm cool. Let's do this whole thing together. But it can be overwhelming sometimes. And I absolutely get that. It was very overwhelming the first time I showed up to RangerStop, and this wasn't even getting to the con. It was when I showed up to the hotel. I
Mhm.
was flogged by people. Like I pulled up to like get what is the parking? Did someone parks your car? I'm having a brain
Valet?
fart. Yeah, I pulled up to get valet and then unload my stuff, and I got like flogged by like 7 different people. And as soon as I got out of the car, and I'm like, I don't even know what's happening. I've never been here before.
Wow. And like that happened because like they recognize you because of your content and the things you do on TikTok, right?
Yeah, and I didn't even think that was possible. I was like, how do people even know who I am?
You know, I'm kind of starting to get a lot of that, especially when I go to cons, and I'm just like, I tell the story all the time. Like people come up to me like, "Oh, you're Blerdography." I'm just like, "Oh no, I need an adult. I need an adult. Like,
Need
what's
an
happening?"
adult. Help me. I was like, I
But
don't
like,
like them.
it's so weird. Like when people like are fans of your work and they recognize you because of your content, and they just are so interested and entertained by what you make because of the era we live in. We live in the content creator era. We're all eating good if we're doing it right, right?
Yeah, we absolutely are. Like we're all eating good. People recognize what they like. Even here in the Midwest, I went to a con in Kansas City and I got recognized by people, and I'm like, how do you even know who I am?
Right, right. It is weird.
Again, with that.
That is a weird feeling because like you said, you just want to be a part of the community. You just want to experience this stuff for yourself, and then you go to a con and everybody wants pictures with you. They want your autograph. They want you to do X, Y, and Z, and you're just like, what is happening? Like, I didn't mean to make a channel and get famous. This is all new to me. I just wanted to be a nerd, and
Yeah.
here we are. Nerds are on top of the world right now, especially like growing up for someone like me or you. I'm sure we both have the similar experience of like
They
black
didn't
people don't do nerdy stuff.
their
That's
stuff.
for European Americans. That's
Yeah.
black people got to be in the rap music, and we got to do
Do this, do that.
stuff, right?
Like
And,
I'm from inner city Philadelphia, like West Philadelphia. I can spout off my home address from where I was born. I was there until about 2000 and moved into a suburb outside of there, literally inner city Philly. And like I've flipped the script versus everyone else in my family besides like my sisters versus everything they do because I wanted to be a little bit different. Like not only because I am a nerd and I liked all that stuff growing up, I
right,
wanted to make sure I was successful.
right.
That's how a lot of my family wanted me to do. My one aunt would have me talk on the phone for her when she had bill collectors call.
Because you spoke white, I'm assuming.
Yes, yes, and I was like, come on, I'm from the same place as you. I just I just do things differently. It's like we grew up right next to each other. Like your house looked like mine.
That's crazy. Oh my god. Oh my god. I was like, my whole thing when I was growing up was like I used to love big words. So I'm like, I'm in school and we're like every day in dictionaries learning these words. Let me use them. And I thought I was just speaking English, right? Nope, I'm speaking white.
Yeah,
Mm.
and that's what I got to. I was like, oh, okay then. All right.
All right. Well,
It is
that's
what it
this
is.
education thing. I guess I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. You tell me go to school and learn, and I'm showing you what I learned. All right, I get it. Let's go back to Power Rangers. I get it. I get it. So you cosplay. You
Yes.
cosplay very well. You have some very well known cosplays, especially when you're at RSP. Why did you get into cosplay? What are your favorite things to cosplay as? And what has your overall experience as a cosplayer been?
So a lot of my cosplays are all Power Ranger based, but the reason I got into cosplay, I would say, is I've always wanted to be a Power Ranger, and that's the first cosplay I got. I wanted to be a Power Ranger, and then I was like, what else can I kind of do? And I've done some other things outside of Power Rangers, but I've mainly stick to the kind of core circle of Power Rangers. So like I got a helmet and I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. And then I was like, maybe if I get a suit, this will look pretty cool too. I had no intention of wearing it anywhere besides my house, by the way. So I was just gonna get this and wear it in my house and be like, I'm cool and stuff like that. So I ended up getting a cosplay. I wore it for my girlfriend. She thought it was fucking nerdy. Sorry. She thought it was nerdy and she still loved it. She's my wife now. She convinced me to go to my first convention because she's like, I heard they're just like a giant craft fair basically for nerds. And I'm like, I don't know. And we ended up going, didn't cosplay that time. And after 2 times going to a Comic-Con, I felt comfortable enough to go, yeah, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. So Power Ranger after Power Ranger after Power Ranger. My well-known one is my Mando Power Ranger, which is the Black Ranger Mandalorian mashup. So I have that. I have a chest. My shoulders are right here. Chest plate, shoulder guards. That's one of my more well-known cosplays, and I also have my Black Ranger Keyblade with that. So that is one of my well-known Ranger cosplays. And then I'll do Dino Thunder Black. I'm working on Dino Thunder White, possibly. Cosmic Fury Orange Ranger and regular Black Ranger, and then regular Black Ranger with the shield. Or something else. But I'm working on 3 new cosplays for RangerStop and Pop. So me and another person are trying to do Kingdom Hearts Power Rangers. So we're having some outfits made. Then I'm trying to do the One Piece crossover right here. And the third one's going to be a mystery. I'm not going to tell you guys about that one yet.
Okay. Can you reveal the mystery cosplayer you're teaming up with, or is that a surprise too?
That's also a surprise because now I just forgot what it is.
Okay.
Even though I already had it in my head.
All right, that's fine. I can respect that. So it seems like you got into cosplay and 3D printing around the same time. Did it kind of make sense to like, hey, I can do cosplay and 3D print what I need? Or did it take a minute? Or okay, so it was kind of immediate, like, hey, I can do this and maximize both, and then make content about both on top of that. So like you got a trifecta of like content creation. You niche down so much. So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah. I try and split some of my content up. I also have 2 channels, but I try and split some of my Power Ranger content up as far as like 3D printing and what I do there and cosplay wise. I have a couple playlists set on TikTok. I need to reorganize it. But I try and fix down on niches. So like I try and focus in on just 3D printing or just Power Ranger content. And if I do branch out a little bit, I'll just kind of semi make it related. So like if I do like a trend, because you know how there's trends always going on or whatnot.
Right.
I'll try and add like a Power Ranger play on it. So like the one audio that it went surprise, surprise. I didn't post it yet, but I just like had the helmet on and wheeled around. Surprise, surprise.
Right.
So I try and like fix that into like my little niche of what my content is. And then sometimes advertise my stuff. Again, I don't like to push things on people. If you want it, you want it. If not, I'm cool with that too.
No, I get that. And oh my god, dude, I'm such a fan of like your content. Before the interview, I was like, let me just see what I've missed by you. And like you're right. You do the trends with the sounds, like that new trend and sound with that R&B remake song of I forgot what it is, but you bring out the black axe and like yeah, that's dope. That is so dope.
It's got that strip.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. How do you approach like creating your content? Do you like plan it out more, or do you just kind of spontaneously just get up and start shooting, or you look for trends?
It's a spontaneous thing as far as like my content goes. I had a hard time at like figuring out what to post and when to post, but there was literally a girl eating cornstarch that got 2 million likes, so you could post whatever you need to. It's not that serious anymore.
Right.
But it's kind of a spur of the moment thing. It's what inspires me at the time. So I'll be scrolling through TikTok and I'll find an audio of something I want to do, and I'll have like a vision in my head, and I'll either save the audio or just go for it right then and there. Most of the time, I don't end up doing it because I forgot I saved the audio. But once I find the audio, whatever, it gives me an idea of what to do. And it doesn't even have to be a video that they're actively doing something to. It could just be some random sound that just sparks something in my head, and I go, "Ooh, I can do this."
No,
There
I
was
I definitely get it. I do. It's so funny you mentioned that. Like, I save so many like videos and like, hey, I can stitch this or I can comment on this or do something like this. And I have like hundreds of thousands of videos, save sounds, everything. And I just forget to do it because I moved on to something else and just forgot what I was originally going to do. That is like one of the biggest veins of a content creator right there is like if you could see my account and the stockpile of like favorites,
backup
likes,
things.
and stuff, it would be insane.
If you could see my camera roll of the backup things I have not posted, it is
Right.
so hard for me to stay organized. Like working on things, working in general, doing content, and just like regular family stuff. It's so hard to stay organized. I end up doing it for the most part, but then I just like get distracted for as far as the content, and then I don't end up making the content, or I get distracted and don't end up finishing something on time.
No, I
So
get that. I'm in the same boat. I got so much going on myself between running the channel, running the business, working 9 to 5, doing X, Y, and Z, trying to learn new things, going to conventions, which takes so much time, effort, and energy. People don't understand. Like, yeah, I go for them for free sometimes, but
it takes a
it
lot.
takes months and months and months of research, like to do interviews and things. So, like, it's a lot. I get it.
And set any of it up because you got to schedule around everyone. Like
Right,
especially if you
right.
have to do more than one interview, like clearly going to do more than one interview, you'll probably have to do at least 20 to not, if not 40, and scheduling all of that around and then zooming back and forth to each spot is probably insane.
It is insane. It is insane. Sometimes it's so insane that don't even have time to look back and see what I've done. And then people tell me like, "Oh, you've done so much." I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm struggling to make content." And then they explain it to you, and then you go and look, and you're like, "Oh crap! I don't even remember doing half this crap. I just did it, edited, moved on, and not even went back and look at the numbers, look at the comments. I didn't know I was doing stuff that meant something to people. Like I was just bored. It was the pandemic. And I was like, why not do content creation? And here we are. Like, I'm sure you have like a similar story, like how you got in, like why you started creating content. But
Yeah.
I never intended this. I still don't know what I'm doing, and yet I'm building a plane that is flying and it's soaring, and you're doing the same thing.
Yeah. So pandemic again, like you said, that's pretty much how I got into content creating. So I found TikTok and because it was just entertaining and I never posted anything. I just like and sometimes comment, never post anything. And then I saw people posting stuff and then other things. I had the 3D printer printing super slow and whatnot. And I was like, let me post a video from that. And I got some likes, posted another video that got some likes. And I was like, you know what? I think I can maybe show my face in a video or two that got some likes. It was never a ton of likes. And then I started doing, I would say, goofy content. And then I got really one big video. And that's how I got half my followers. And I've removed that video since because it wasn't appropriate to now.
Okay, okay.
That's how I got more followers. And then I was like, okay, I want to switch gears because I don't want to do that anymore. And then I just got more into 3D printing and Power Ranger stuff.
Gotcha.
So that's more or less my content and how I got into content making.
Gotcha. But it's not the only type of content you make. Like you alluded to earlier, you have a second channel, and there's a story behind that because it was around the same time I was going through some similar issues. But we just had different results of what happened. You split your channel so you can talk about certain things, and I had to create a whole new channel because I got permaban. So why did you split your channel? And what is this second channel about?
I split my channel for two things. One, so I can keep my main account and not have that mess with. And two, my second account is more or less, I would say it is political, but it's not political. It's more or less human rights and knowledge of the laws. So that's what my second channel breaks into. And I will break down people's arguments when it comes to either the law or how you should treat someone in humanity, period. And I get very, very passionate about that because I believe in everyone should be treated fair, due process, and left alone if they're not bothering you. The reason I served is because I wanted to give everyone the American dream: life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. It doesn't matter who you are. As long as you're not hurting anyone, doesn't matter to me. And again, I serve just for that reason. And there's people today that'll probably hate me just for being me, but guess what? I'll still serve to protect you. So you have the right to be an a-hole. So you have the right to do whatever you're doing. But that doesn't give you the right to be an a-hole. You have the power to change.
That is, I'm going to just clap on that one. That was so well said. Given the political climate, I'm not trying to get so political on this channel, but like, given the times, you kind of have no choice. Given the political climate, given how people are and how people are coming out of the woodworks and trying to cancel DEI and X, Y, and Z, like, I just want to ask you, like, there was a mass exodus of African Americans within the service because of the current administration saying that these are just DEI hires. To you, as someone who has served diligently, I might add, and done your job, what does it mean to you when you hear the current administration say stuff like this and make policies that affect specifically you?
This administration drives me absolutely up the wall with how they treat African Americans and people of color, because not only do they throw around this term DEI, which just to them means black, which that's not even what DEI stands for. So let's get that out of the water. It drives me up the wall because knowing that we have to work so much harder to get where we are to even be considered half as good for them just to remove all the things, like to roll back. Like there's a policy right now that the stupid Secretary of Defense enacted that if you have the skin condition with shaving bumps, you have 6 months to get it under control, or you can be administratively separated. That mainly affects African American males. That is a targeted attack.
What's the purpose of the policy in the first place? What are razor bumps hurting this country? What national security threat is that?
It's not just like the fact that they're attacking like trans in the military. That's not hurting the country. They should be lucky there's someone willing to put their life on the line.
Thank you. Like, I don't, like, if you sign up, I don't care if you're black, you're white, you're trans, you're gay, you're straight. If you sign up to serve this country, thank you. Because guess who's not doing it?
The people complaining. Not you, and just not you.
No, I know.
You're not doing it, but like, yeah.
I get it. Like, there was a point between 9/11 and the invasion of Iraq where I was like, I'm so patriotic. I'm going to do this and do that. I was too young at the time to actually enlist and sign up. But I almost did. And someone had to talk to me about like, hey, young man, remember, you're a black man in America. You may feel this national pride right now, but look at the political discourse that's happening and just try to understand that that might not be the route for you specifically. And someone had to sit down and tell me that. It's not the slight that anyone who's a person of color that serves this country, again, thank you. I appreciate the service you do, because if it were me, we would always be speaking German or Chinese or Russian or something right now, because I remember things that this country has done to my ancestors, to my family. Kind of hard to forget.
I know exactly what plantation my family came from. So
you too?
Yeah.
There's a county in Georgia named after my family, not my family, but the family that owned us. And I'm just like, cool. Yeah,
same thing.
Cool.
Yeah. And my dad going he's like, let's visit. And I'm like, are you out your cotton loving mind? Like, what's wrong with you?
Why? I don't want to, like, as a black person, I'm sure other black people can relate. As much as I love our history and our culture and our heritage, I hate that everything that we do in this country reverts back to slavery. But at the same time, it's true. Everything in this country, as how it stands now, comes from slavery. The current political climate, the money that this country has and currently sits on came from slavery. No one talks about these things, or when we do, we're anti-American, and they're erasing Black history from American history, and I'm just like, it's so sickening sometimes. And then they'll just tell you, go back to Africa. And I'm like, I've never been, but thank you. Sorry, we went way off the rails with that.
No, you're good. I completely understand how you feel, and like I'm trying to hold it in because you saw my other channel. You know how right. Up.
Right, I'll probably just cut this section out and make it some specific exclusive content. But getting back to Power Rangers, man, since we're on that subject of Black people and Power Rangers and our disposition in this country, you earlier mentioned that not only has there been like the rule of one Black person per Ranger team. They've only had 2 African Americans be Black Rangers. That was in the beginning with Mighty Morphin and in Operation Overdrive during the Disney era. And in that season
pissed me off.
You too? So you know what I'm about to get to.
I know exactly what you're about to get to. Why'd they give him the job they gave him?
So for those who don't remember Operation Overdrive, because it was a terrible season in amongst an era that had nothing but gems. Operation Overdrive, the first episode, it begins with, of course, assembling the team, and the mentor of the team hires, I forget the actor's name, I forget the character's name because it pissed me off so much, but hire a Black dude with braids, bad-looking dookie braids, my ad, to be a thief and steal from him.
They called it an artifact recovery specialist. But every single time he did it, he was just breaking into wherever and taking the object.
Yeah. Yep. And I was like, he couldn't be the race car driver. He couldn't be the medic. Like, shit. Like, he had to be the thief. All right.
Right?
Disney.
I was like, come on.
Like, I can forgive Walter E. Jones. I think in the Black Ranger thing and Tree Train with the Yellow Ranger thing, I can forgive that. But them doing that was so egregious to me.
Yep. After that, I was like, I'm not watching the season again. I was like, once one watch through was enough for me. So right. I know that there's Rangers. I know the ones of Cyborg. I know Moltor and Florius, and that's it. Well, Dr. Hartman.
The Cyborg thing kind of made me mad too. I'm not gonna lie, the Cyborg thing made me mad too.
Why was he protecting him so hard and he was just a cyborg?
We're not gonna get into that. The only thing that, and it's not even a redeeming thing, it's just this is the best thing about this season because of what we got out of it like 20 years later, was once a Ranger, always a Ranger special. That was the best thing to come from that season.
Yep.
Hands down. But again, since we're talking about other African Americans in the Power Rangers series, there are a few that I want to kind of point out that kind of stand out to me. Of course, I want to just bring not even honorable mentions, but like special acknowledgement to Karen Ashley and Nakia Burris, because not only were they the first and second Yellow Rangers, Nakia Burris was the first African American woman to be portrayed as a superhero on live action television, and then Nakia Burris being the second. Not only did they mean so much to like me and so many other like Black and brown kids, Black and brown women, like they just deserve so many like special flowers and just acknowledgments. Shelby from what was it, Dino Charge? She was the first Pink Ranger that was Black, and like that tension between her and that
annoyed me too.
It annoyed me, but I kind of respected, because at least they were making, I hate to say this, her race a part of, like, her experience as a Black person, a part of her being a Ranger. And no other season really did that with their characters. So at least they're trying to create some kind of real world example of what it would be like for us if we were a Ranger. We would be like you said, we have to work 4 times as hard to get half as far. That was a prime example of that in Power Ranger form. So like I know it's annoying. I know it looked back. I know I cringe every time I watch it, but it's important to see that because that's what it's really like for us.
It really is. Unfortunately, we've all not gotten accustomed to it, but learned and felt about it and continue to feel about it. And one day, maybe one day, it'll stop.
Right. One day, it's not going to. But one day, here's hope. Here's hope. I'm going to bring up one last character from Power Rangers that I want to just kind of acknowledge I have a little problem with. It's from the Ninja Steel season. The White Ranger, first White Ranger that was a black person, black lady. Her Zord is a dog.
Yeah, and, that too.
Yeah, and I just like
it's almost like they slightly use backhanded comments,
right?
When casting Black Rangers,
right?
And like, what's going on here? And I know like the same people didn't own it every single phase of the time, but it seems like it almost gets to be like a common factor,
right? Like they're intentionally being tone deaf in purpose to kind of be a little racist, if I'm just being honest. Because again, it's a bit on the nose. It's one thing when you did it that one time, and then it did create this big controversy. You think you would be, even if you're a new writer, even if you're a new production company that has this IP, you will be conscious of that. Like, hey, let's be careful about how we cast Black people and people of color in this series, given these things that have happened that we just talked about
previously. Yes. And you would think that would happen, and there would be multiple people proofing it over, like, hey, did we look at this aspect or this aspect?
Right.
But it doesn't seem like any of that went that way.
No. And I'm going to bring up one last thing, and maybe this is just my pet peeve because I have talked about this with other people, but in Dino Fury and Cosmic Fury, with Zato and Ion being aliens, I feel like takes away their blackness to me. We mentioned like the graded, like five of the Red Rangers are black. Zato's the only alien, and they focus more on him being an alien than him just being a black man, I guess. I get it. Like, they don't really focus on a lot of race and things, but they were breaking grounds with that season with them casting 2 black characters to be Rangers, with them having their first LGBTQ Ranger, and her ripping off the skirt. You think they would have did a lot more with that, but they didn't. He was just an alien. Zato, Ion was just an alien. Don't get me wrong, I love what they did with Zato and him becoming the Shampagan Ranger and then eventually Zordon. That was amazing. But definitely needed, and something I didn't even know I needed, and happy that it happened. But still, how we were portrayed and what we mean, like, it seems like there's a disconnect between the creators of the series and the fan base, and how they kind of just treat certain characters sometimes.
Yeah, they said close enough is basically what they said at the last seasons.
Close enough.
Yeah, they said close enough because, they did focus on the alien part a lot more. And then Amelia was found to be an alien, so that just, like, kind of completely threw out the whole race aspect of that. So they said close enough in skin tone, not enough in plotline.
Oh my god, that's so funny you said that, because like you notice how Zato's like the only light-skinned Red Ranger. Like there have been other light-skinned Rangers, Blue Samurai Ranger, Noah from for Super Mega Force, but like for like them to play that colorism card, I was like, I wasn't expecting that from Power Rangers. Cool. Let's change gears. Let's talk about RangerStop and Pop. Atlanta or Orlando, you've gone to both. What are some of the key differences between both outside of location?
So let's start with Atlanta. Differences I have with Atlanta. The hotel is a lot nicer. So hotel in Atlanta is really a lot nicer, and you're closer in the city range of pretty much any kind of event or outside activity you want to do. So that's already a bonus. And then if you go inside the con-wise, there was multiple different areas. So there was a lot more spacage than there is in Orlando, as far as I noticed. So I like that aspect of Atlanta a lot better. As far as the RangerStop Atlanta versus Orlando, Atlanta will have a lot of outside guests, like some people that don't necessarily do Power Ranger things, but are still geek related or nerd related. So I really like that about Atlanta. Orlando doesn't necessarily do that. And if they do, it's barely any. It's mainly only Rangers themselves. Um, I haven't really participated in any. Well, I have participated in some events, but I haven't really participated in any of the activity panels at Atlanta, but I have at Orlando, like the maker panels and stuff like that, and the cosplayers. So I haven't really done that at Atlanta. More or less, I've been vendoring for the
Right.
most of the day, so I didn't get to really go around too often. Orlando, I get a break in between because I have family down there, so I have my sister or something watch the table.
Gotcha.
Is if you go to Orlando, I like the space. I like the layout of the hotel because everything's on the ground floor. I
Gotcha.
like that aspect. So I don't. What kind of hotel it would say? You can access the rooms from outside, basically. So you don't have to go inside, and then there's room there. Yeah, it's almost like a motel, but it's a hotel because there's a lot of places like that in Florida. That's how they like to do a lot of them.
Okay.
Even the condo I stay at does that, which is interesting because I've never seen that until I went there. I like that everything's on the ground level, but I don't like the layout of inside of the con of Orlando at all. The how they have their for the last 3 years, how they had their tables and their vendors and their guests set up was absolutely horrible.
What was the setup? What was so bad about it?
They had you come in, so they had you come in toward the back, but all of the guests were right where you came in. So basically, people come in, see the guests, and have no incentive to go around the rest of the floor.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of people want to see guests first. So as far as a layout wise, you should put the back of the entrance where I would say where all the vendors are, and it leads to the end where the guests are. So that way they have to pass through the vendors. So if they see something they like or something that catches their eye. So I really didn't like that aspect of Orlando. Then the after party in Orlando, it was more of a secluded room than Atlanta. I didn't like Atlanta's. I like the setup, like as far as how they did it itself, but as far as the area, I did not like that in Atlanta. It was in that little atrium, and all the rooms were up above and whatnot. So everyone's just looking down at the VIP guests, and it gives me a weird feel and concept. So I really didn't like that from ground level and from up above. So I'm like, I feel like it should be more closed off, and closed off auditorium would have been cool. That would have been a lot better. Orlando's, it was in a smaller room in a smaller area, but it felt too cramped. If that makes any sense.
No.
So that one felt cramped, and then the one in Atlanta felt way too open, where it wasn't really VIP. It was VIP plus friends.
Right. No, that makes sense. That's so understandable. I haven't experienced a lot of the VIP events at RSP because I go in as press, and that's kind of separate from what we get to do. But I've heard stories about VIP. I know when they were at the now named Cortland Grand Hotel, but originally the Sheraton Hotel, they had a lot of issues with like controlling the AC because they were in the basement.
Yes.
And like how hot it got, the VIP.
I was wondering about that one year. Yeah. I was dying. I was like, did they turn off the AC in the hotel trying to kick out all the cosplayers?
It was like, it had nothing to do with RSP. The new management of the con, of the hotel was just, they was just on one, just being honest. They was just on one, and they just didn't care because they had another convention or something that was coming in that was more prominent and professional than Power Rangers and nerds and cosplay and stuff. Because even the staff of the hotel was like making fun of the cosplayers and stuff. There was a lot of complaints about that even Karen Ashley had to kind of address at some point. So,
which is insane that they did that at the previous hotel, when last year at Atlanta, there was literally a professional sports conference, like college sports conference, that was happening with like D1 athletes and 6'3" tall women, and they were taking pictures with all of the cosplayers and having a great time.
Right. Right. Oh
They
man,
didn't
that's
care. They
dope.
were loving it.
Right. So yeah, it's just like Atlanta's a nerdy place, but like Atlanta's also a place. I'm
Yeah.
gonna just leave it at that. I'm just
It's just
but
the environment changes so much when you go to different places. So like the
right,
last hotel, they were on one. We go to the next one, we find amazing people, and it was great.
right.
If anything I could complain about Atlanta this year, I hope the hotel fixed the elevator.
Yeah, but that's just a thing at any convention that's in the hotel. You're gonna have elevator issues. Try
Yeah.
coming to Dragon Con, man. The elevators are not fun there.
I hated the elevators. I ended up walking the stairs most of the time, and I was on the 14th floor.
Oh my God, you must have like calves of steel after that.
My
Yeah,
calves are
yeah.
massive.
Yeah, see, I couldn't do it. I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. Before we go, I'm just so happy to have you on. I know I've had you on for a little bit longer than I intended to, but this was such a great conversation. So much that we talked about that needs to be said. But before we go, I just have a few more things for you. What are some of your favorite memories from RSP Atlanta? Like, I know you mentioned the Dante Bosco, giving him the helmet that you 3D printed. You also have a video of you and Walter Jones where you did the same thing, where you presented him the helmet and all that. But are those two specific things like your favorite moments, or you just have like other moments that like you don't even have online to share?
So those two aren't specifically my favorite moment. I have other moments, and it's mainly with the experience with other friends that I met. So like Beauty Baba Yaga, who you're going to have on Blerdkast later. Me and her, we both wore Cosmic Fury Orange. Like we planned this together. So I did a male version because clearly I just had to switch it up, and then she
Right,
did the OG. So we both cosplayed Cosmic Fury Orange so we can get pictures with Jacqueline Joe. I
right,
made the Cosmic Fury Orange claws for her, and then we had our friend Tyler who did Cosmic Fury Green. So we decided just to like play a little joke, and we played tug of war with him in between the two of us. So we were both orange and he was green, and we were just tugging him back and forth. And I mean that was a great memory. I still have a video of it, but I don't think I posted it anywhere. Maybe I'll post it soon.
yeah, you should. You
uh,
definitely should post that soon.
yeah.
I remember a little bit of that, and I remember like Jacqueline's reaction to not only seeing you but also seeing Beauty Baba Yaga and Tyler like show up, and like the pictures y'all got and just how spontaneous that moment was. And I was like, oh man, like just to be in the area and see that happen while I'm changing out my camera batteries, I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. But like some content, not everything you witness at a con is content. Sometimes you just gotta experience it and just
Yeah.
have it for yourself. And that was definitely one of those memories for me personally.
That and another one of my favorite memories is with Jacqueline Joe and Tessa Rao. I don't remember where I was in the hotel or whatever, but Jacqueline recognized me because I made her the Cosmic Fury Orange Claws. She signed one of my helmets, and I made a bunch of orange helmets, and I was just doing something, and then her and Tessa came behind me. I was like, put them up. And I was like, oh, I was like,
So our good friend Chris Dunn told me about that happened. I was like, oh my God, because I think I had left right before that happened. I was like, oh my God, I missed so much cool stuff just like from not being able to hang out with y'all the whole con. So, oh my God, I can't wait. I can't wait for this year's con. I know you're not officially going to RSP Atlanta, but you'll be in the area when
no,
you
I'll be there for one day. I'm not sure if it's going to be Friday or Saturday,
right.
but I will be there for one of the days. I'm hoping it's Saturday, but if it's not Saturday, I could just show up for. I know you guys have like the after hours stuff and whatnot. I'll just show up for that because I'm at the hotel around the corner uh with my sister. So I mean,
Okay.
we're just there.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because we are Anime Secrets, Carnell, Holly Pictures, and Blerdography are doing the Day Zero event, which will be Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night. Time and location to be determined. We're still waiting on that information, but we are doing a trivia night Day Zero event. We'll have Steve Newport there. He'll be the host. We'll have special guests pop up. Hopefully Kev can come and join us for that too. So that'll be fun. Since this is the last RSP Atlanta, what are you most looking forward to?
So what I'm most looking forward to, and this is a little bit of an ego trip, there's supposedly going to be a lot of people that have things that I made there. So
Mm.
I'm looking forward to going to see my stuff in action. That's I'm looking forward to see that.
No, I can imagine that. Like that must be so dope for you. Like just to see like majority of the cosplayers there with your props and your helmets and your keyblades. Oh my god, that would be amazing. Yeah, I
Yep.
can
And I'm
get
like,
that.
I made that. I did that. I did that one here.
Man, that must be so dope. That must be so dope. Speaking of, there was a clip. This is unrelated to Power Rangers, but there was something that went around the internet around Blerdcon back in March of a cosplayer having to leave all of their props in the trash can in the airport because they couldn't bring them on the plane. As a prop maker, I'm not sure if you've seen that, but see if you were to come across that in real life, how would that make you feel as a prop maker if you saw your discarded props in the airport trash can because they couldn't take it through TSA?
It really it'd break my heart, honestly. Um, I mean, I know it's not mine because I already let it go. It's all up to them, whatever they want to do with the object. But not to take any type of initiative to try and get it back is kind of a waste because people spend money. They spend
Yeah.
money on these. I can't like do this for free, even though I don't charge astronomical prices. I can't do it for free. If you're gonna drop like $200+ on something just to throw it in the trash at the end of the con, come on.
Well, it's not at the end of the con, but like
Not at the end of the con, but like before the airport.
right,
Like
right. Like they just couldn't
it's
get it through TSA. It was unintentional. Like, obviously there could have
well, how'd you get there with it?
I don't
That's
know. Like
that was my assumption. You got there with it, so you should be able to get it back.
I assumed that they were going to the con and couldn't get through TSA with their cosplaying props, or they brought props at the con and can get home with it. I don't think it was something that was done intentional. I think it was just they were trying to get home. They didn't have the money to ship it, and because they spent all the money
Yeah, I
on
can
it
see
or
that.
whatever.
I can
Um,
see that they didn't have the money to pay for the extra luggage or anything else when they at
right,
the end of the con because they probably spent too much money on whatever vendor they
right,
did.
right. Which in hindsight
But
be like,
it still
well,
broke my
either
heart
way,
to
you're
see like
wasting the
props just
money because now
discarded.
you don't have it. So
Yeah,
my heart goes out to whoever had to do that. But like as a prop
it makes
maker,
me
if I
sad.
spent that time making that, even though I already made my money, I would still feel a little hurt. Like you said, a little heartbroken.
I'm like, come on, I made that. I spent weeks doing that.
Right. But thank you so much for coming on. I know you got prints going off in the background that you are slowly watching print. I do want to just ask you one quick last quick question. What is that like? Like you make a design in CAD 3D printer and then you print it out and then it takes like 36, 72 hours for a Ranger helmet to come out and then you got to start the process of sanding it down and priming it and painting it and polishing it. Like how
So
long does it normally take you to make like a normal size helmet?
uh, the whole process takes weeks. So a lot of my files, I will already get pre-made files. It's a lot simpler and easier that way. Although I can make files, I don't do it often. And if it's something really complex, I'll outsource it because I don't always have the time to like work on these and model. They're two separate things. I can't do both at the same time,
Right.
unfortunately. So I'll outsource one part of the work and then do this. But the whole process uh, takes a while. So if the file's already made, I can load it up into my printer. I'll size it to the person's head, stuff like that. It takes anywhere from yeah, 24 to 48 hours to print the whole helmet. I have some really fast printers, sometimes 12 hours. Just depends on if I split it through all my printers. Um, then after I get it printed, then there's all the prep work. So it's about 9 man hours of sanding in between various different phases. I'm layering up primer and filler primer and Bondo to get it as smooth as possible to get it which one? This one to get it as smooth as it possibly can be,
Mm.
just so I can start painting it. And I'll go anywhere from I'll start with a really high grit, go all the way up to 600 fine grit. So again, like 9 man-hours of just sanding in general, and then paint in between that. They take 3 days to cure in between layers, and then the clear coat needs a week to cure. So the whole process takes me, if I do it at my fastest, about 3.5 weeks. And that's if there's no issues during the entire time. Like this one right here, there's issues. I have to redo this again. I have to sand this whole thing down, reprime it, and then start over from scratch and do this. So this had an issue, and this will set me back at least a week on this one. So I like to give people realistic expectations of time frame. So I said I give them anywhere from 1 month, 1 to 2 months as far as processing time. But most of the time, I get it done within 3.5 weeks or so. So I do give them that realistic time frame, but it can be done earlier. It just depends on how smoothly it goes. Not everything goes as well as I would like them to. And it is really frustrating when that happens, but it does happen. I've lost several helmets mid-process finishing them. Like I was finishing one, and I guess I forgot to secure it properly. Had a really bad gust of wind. It threw it right up against the fence, and it was painted to pretty much like this level of almost done, where this just needs the clear coat. And I'm like, great, I just lost the helmet, and that was 3-4 weeks worth of work that I have to now start over.
Wow, that's insane. I can only imagine, like, because you've mastered this craft of 3D printing and crafting Ranger props and things like that. So I want to commend you for that, because it literally took you 10,000 man hours of hard work and labor to get to the point where you are
working at it.
Right. So again, you are a master at your craft, and I am so enamored with your work. Every time I see like someone at any convention, and I like that, definitely looks like K3vl0ck's work, because you have a distinctiveness to like the props and things that you make. And because I watch your content,
oh my god, someone sent me a picture of something the other day. It was like, you make this? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, this will circulate in Facebook. And I was like, why am I on Facebook? And it was like, and your name was attached. And I was like, what the?
Yeah, like, dude, you're everywhere. I know you say you deleted your Facebook. I'm like, no, I swear to God, I just saw something of you on there. But like, dude, you do amazing work. Before we go, the last question. Again, I know you have a lot of issues with 3D printing, but like, you enjoy it so much. So I want to ask you, what are like some of the easier things to 3D print that are like, okay, I can print this out and it's simple, and what are the harder things to print out and create a final product of?
So some of the hard things to print out is anything with a lot of detail, especially small details. So if it has small details in it, it's really hard to print out on the type of printer I have. I could reduce like my nozzle size and stuff like that, but that's a lot of extra work to print it out. So like here, this isn't even that small of detail, but it's still pretty small right here.
Right.
This, it does not have enough detail in it. Like it looks decent, but this is after me layering it up and like almost smoothing it. You can still see the layer lines, and it's not as defined. But the bigger you go, it gets a little bit easier. But also, hold on, I got something else that was a pain to print, like a pain. This was hard to print.
Okay.
This is a custom Berserk helmet. These teeth are hard to print wherever, and they usually fail. So I had to print this in 7 pieces. So this is 7 pieces total, but it doesn't look like that anymore. It just looks like 1, 2, 3.
Right.
But I made it where it's entirely 7 pieces and creepy.
But like the level of detail you put behind it, like I can only imagine, like, would you rather have your prints fail in the printer stage or doing like the actual priming stage?
The printer stage.
The printer stage?
100% the printer stage.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want it to fail, period, but in the printer stage, because at least I already didn't put any handwork into it. I'm just wasting filament at that time. But if I put handwork into it afterwards, then I'm wasting the primer, the paint, and everything else.
No, I got you. And I'm sure none of this stuff is cheap by any means. I'm pretty sure.
It's expensive. I mean,
hey, I'm with it. I got one too, but thank you so much for coming on. Before we go,
You
do
have
you have like anything you want to say? I give all my guests a soapbox to stand on to do whatever. Now's your opportunity. Here's the floor.
Well, the only thing I like to say is if you're going to get any props, and I'm not encouraging you to get it from me, just make sure you ask around, shop around, and make sure you do your research before you get any props. I'll sell you a prop, and I'll do whatever I can to make your dreams come true. I make custom things, and you have a design, I'll make it happen. But do your research before you buy any type of prop, costume, or even Power Ranger helmet, because there are some bad makers and makes out there, and I don't want anyone to get hemmed up and get something they don't want to use or enjoy. So that's the only thing I want to say.
Gotcha. Man, thank you so much for coming on Blerdkast. I meant to have you on like so much a little sooner than now, but like, you know, opportunities and adulthood sucks. If I could go back to my adolescence and make a whole complete life change, I would change all this stuff because adulthood sucks so much. I just want to be a nerd and make money being a nerd and go to all the cons and just have fun because paying bills, that's not for me.
Awful. I call my dad once a week and I go, "This is your fault."
Yes. like, come on! I want a 3-month vacation from having to go to work. The school was a lie. That was a lie. You get the summer off.
You get the summer off. They like go to college. You won't have to do all this stuff.
No comment about college. That was another trap too. But I'm happy I went.
At least I don't have to pay for my student loans thanks to the military.
Thank you for serving our country. I hope you appreciate it.
I appreciate that education. That's for sure.
But no, thank you so much, man. I'm so happy that you came on. I'm so happy for your success and everything that you've done. Your 3D printing, your content, your cosplay. You are just one of the more amazing people to know out there on the internet right now. I would love to have you back on. I have so much stuff planned for the summer, so many different live events that I would love for you to be a part of. Black Men in Nerdy Spaces, Black Nerd Business Owners, and just Fan Appreciation Month in August. You're going to RSP this week because I forgot we was doing that. We just had so much fun in the interview. But RSP is this week. For those of you who are going to RangerStop and Pop, it's not too late. You can use promo code Done Right. Yeah, I'm still using his promo code because hey, why not? Use promo code Done Right to get your passes, to register, and save 10%. So you can use that 10% for somewhere else. And for everybody else, thank you for watching Blerdkast. This has been a really, really fun episode. I'm so happy I got to nerd out to one of my favorite content creators about my favorite series out there in the whole world. It is indeed morphin time. And don't let it, I don't want you to think I don't appreciate you wearing your Aubrey Killer hoodie. Like I love that. Like I just love the level of nerdiness that you brought to the table today, sir. So just thank you so much. Everybody else, check out Blerdography on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, Red Note, Lemonade, Xiaoxing, TikTok, everywhere on social media. And you can listen to Blerdkast everywhere you listen to your podcast, on Spotify, Google Music, Apple Music, and all the rest. And don't forget, if you want more exclusive content from this interview, become a channel member for as low as $2 a month. You get member access to member-only videos and so much more. But thank you all, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.